And it's really a remarkable place. I think it's one of the very few, if not the only, Irish bar that's truly welcoming to LGBTQT people, and it's heartening to see. On Mondays and Tuesdays there are dart tournaments, and Wednesdays and Thursdays there are auditions for drag queen storytelling hour, and it's all good. It's all good. I really want to thank Jason for putting the programs together. Thank you. It was good. I said that I'd be happy to speak anytime today, and we just made Tuesday. That's good. And I also want to thank Sissy mcgintys and the bar. John is gone, but it's still staffed, and Drink Up. It's a great place, and it's been fun to. It's one of my first open mics, as you can probably tell. But I've enjoyed it a lot. Recently, I moved to Astoria not long ago, and it's really. I mean, I know I'm not the only person who loves Astoria. It's really a great place, and I've been living on Long Island, so it's really great to come back to New York, where I was born, and I found myself coming back from a divorce, and which really was good. It was time. I hadn't really had any action since the Obama administration, so it was nice to have that happening. My ex-wife did a little bit, like if you remember the old I Love Lucy episodes, where Lucy did the supermarket sweepstakes, where she would race through the supermarket with a shopping cart trying to put everything in the cart. That's basically what my ex-wife did with our house. And it was amazing to see how quickly she could get two huge TV screens into a van, and our kid, and a hell of a lot of other things, and took off to Eastern Long Island. And I haven't seen either of them since. So hopefully they found a place, but it's all good. I got the Miata, so I considered that a pretty good trade, really, and drove west. And I originally was going to be go over the bridge into Manhattan, ran out of gas, stopped in Astoria, and the rest is history. Astoria is really a good place to be. I mean, I was a little surprised at, I guess the two things that really struck me was the number of cannabis shops that we have here. Not marijuana, cannabis shops. And the parking issues. I'm one of the crazy people who keeps a car on the streets of New York. And it's really a crazy thing to do. So what I did was, it's a Miata. So I just decided it was impossible to find parking in the streets of Astoria. So I drove the car up the flight of stairs into the lobby, drove the car into my apartment, and I parked it in the living room, where it is on Monday through Wednesday. And on Thursdays I drive it into the bedroom. It is a convertible, so I take down the top, and I enjoy the light from the overhead fixture, and gets good mileage. I mean, I drive it into the bathroom, and it's all good. The only problem was I got back late on Thursday morning to drive the car from the living room into the bedroom, and one of the New York City Police parking guys was already there, ready to give me a ticket. So I've learned like everybody does who owns a car in New York, I've tried to memorize the days in which alternate side of the street parking is not in effect. So it's kind of like a free day. Last Monday was one of them. Does anybody know what last Monday was?
New Year's.
Any car owners? It was Three Kings Day. Now, Three Kings Day is celebrated I think by Coptic Egyptians, Coptic Christian Egyptians, It's celebrated by a small cult of Lithuanian Lutherans. Try saying that 3 times after a couple of drinks. And it's celebrated by the Union of New York City parking attendants. And they have the day off. So if you follow that, you can avoid having to switch to alternate side of the street parking. When my divorce came through, the papers came through, it was a melancholy moment because the marriage actually was very good at the beginning. When I met my wife, she didn't speak any English. She spoke only Italian, and I didn't speak any Italian. So we basically got along really well. And the only problem was eventually she learned English, and that caused quite a few problems. We did our best. We found a therapist who we thought could help us, and the therapist ended up going into retirement after about 3 sessions, so that didn't work. We did get written up by, if you remember, the Ladies' Home Journal has a long-running column called "Can This Marriage Be Saved?" And they sent their columnists out to interview us, and the answer was basically one word: no. And that was pretty much the marriage ended at that point. But the great thing was that, for me, was that I left Eastern Long Island and came out to Astoria, and I'm really glad for that. There is a culture that it's taken me a little while to get used to, which is after years of, and I don't indulge, but for years marijuana has always been, I remember going back to, when I was in school, it became really difficult to get by sometimes, some weeks or some weekends, without indulging. And now it's everywhere. Astoria has, I think, the highest proportion of marijuana stores, CBDs, of any city, any community in the United States. It's at the point where people come from Holland, from Amsterdam, in order to come here and buy weed, which is incredible. Astoria is the only place, I think, where you can get a contact high walking down the sidewalk at 9 in the morning on a Sunday. So that takes some getting used to. What I found is that obviously marijuana no longer has that kind of rebel quality to it. And what's happened is that people are selling other things. Now, unfortunately for me, one of those things is baklava. And I've put on about 10 pounds since moving here, 9 of which come from baklava. And it's at the point where I'll walk down certain streets and people in alleys will go, psst, 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 baklava, baklava. It's like loose joints, and it's baklava. So that's accounted for about 10 pounds for me. I think that, I'm planning to stay longer in Astoria. I love it here. It's great. And I'd like to thank you all for welcoming me, and I'd like to thank everybody I'd like to thank Jason again for putting this together, and everybody at Sissy mcgintys for this great show. Thank you.
Give it one more time for Warren. All right, would you believe it? There are still people here, and there's still people to perform. Do we still have Tyrez in the building? Is Tyrez still in the building?
Yeah, right.
Hell yeah. There's been 30 people that have gone. The fact that I can't